Howdy folks, this is Chris with M2Skins, and after the overwhelmingly positive response we get from the last narrated install guide, we've decided to do a narration version of this guy, which is the Legion GO 2. There's a lot of interesting bits and bobs about this design that you'll want to pay attention to as we go through. I'm just going to make sure I get this tack tape put on here. Yours is going to come pre-made with the tack tape on it. You're going to want to make sure that you push it down because it can be dislodged a little during shipping. Just want to make sure it's got adhesion to the vinyl there. So let's go ahead and dive in. This is the Legion GO 2. We're going to do the body first, and then we're going to put the controllers on and put the skin on the controllers second. You want to start by using your towel to thoroughly get rid of any dust, oil, fingerprints, whatnot. They can get trapped under the skin and show little bubbles and so on and so forth. You don't want that. We'll do the back first. You're going to want to make sure you peel from the larger corners here, not from the legs, and peel from both sides. It's very important because otherwise you can end up inadvertently stretching some of the thinner pieces, especially if you've got the logo cut out in there. I start by aligning the screw holes at the top here, in the corners. Once you got that, just give it a little tack down. Now this is a little curved, so you're going to want to make sure you align, before you fully tack, you want to align the top edge. Actually, I was a little off here. There we go. Okay. You may get a little waves here, but don't worry, they come out pretty easily. Just want to go ahead and tack that edge and then push down towards the logo and the vent. Don't go all the way down just yet. Just want a solid base up here. And then on each side, because of this curve here, we want to make sure that we align the screw holes first. This is a stretch to fit design, so there is a small amount of stretch here just to get it to that screw hole. Okay? And then similarly, you're going to want to make sure you hold this guy up a little bit and then do the bottom screw hole there. Okay. And then go up the curve. There is a little bit of reveal that we built into the design, so you don't have to go right to the edge if you don't want to. And so we're going to do the same for this side, and just give it a nice little stretch to align that screw hole. Tack it, and then a nice little stretch to align this one down here. Oh, got a little bit of a wrinkle here. There we go. Yeah, this curve does make for interesting install. Work up the curve. Then you're going to want to take your squeegee and go diagonally towards the little legs here. Don't do the legs just yet. We're going to do those with the tweezers. And then grab your little leg with the tweezers, put it where you want, tack it down. Same over here. The color we're doing today is actually a new color we just launched. It's the Satin Shimmer Ocean by 3M. Carefully peel the tack tape off. The anti-fingerprint coating on the Lenovos can cause the vinyl not to adhere completely at first go, so you can just tack that back down after you peel. Use your finger, don't use the squeegee for this. Work in between the letters. There we go. Now let's do the kickstand. This is pretty simple. You peel and apply. Of course, it is just a rectangle, so that kind of makes sense. Tack down one side, and then you want to align and tack down the other side. If you want to see the Lenovo badge underneath, and can heat it up a little bit, and just push in. And that'll make the vinyl conform to the sharp edges of the badge. So now you can see that Lenovo pretty clear. On the thicker vinyls, this will be a little bit more hidden. Okay, let's do the top. This is another stretch to fit design, so we're gonna lay down one side. I'll probably do this side first, and then we're gonna stretch across these 3 points due to how thin these two pieces are. I contemplated using tack tape, but that, due to the opaque nature of the tack tape, it was hard to get a good alignment because you can't quite see completely through it. So again, peel from both sides because you want to avoid pre-stretching it. And then we're just going to lay this down here, line around the vent and the volume rocker buttons, a little power LED, and the USB port. Give that a good tack. And then the first leg. And this is hard to do for me because I'm not able to look directly over the device since that's where the camera is, but I'll do my best. Just gonna give it a little stretch. And then a tack. And then we do the next one. This does have, you're gonna have to pull this just a smidge. Some of the thinner vinyls stretch easier than others, especially if you've got a textured vinyl. There's going to be quite a bit of stretching going on here. Okay. And then the next one. Okay. And then around the power button, like so. Flip this around so I can actually see this side. And then around the vents. All right, and then this edge is a crease, so you want to just work back and forth very slowly. You don't want to create any bubbles. Like so. Not too bad for not being able to look over it. All right, let's do the bottom. So with the bottom, we align the ports first. I may have stretched this a little bit, peeling it. Okay, and then, actually I'm going to tilt this a little bit, but I'll show you what I'm doing in a second. Just using the tweezers to align this little kind of curve up here. You don't want to go too far into the curve because it can actually hang over and become a friction point. And then we're going to do the same on this side. Align that curve and then tack down. All right, so now that the body's done, I find it easier to install the controller skins with it on the device because then I can lay it down. And start with the left side. So this one does have a break because of how thin this piece is here. So you're going to want to be careful when you're peeling it. I usually peel from this corner up here and then grab down here and work my way around. Last thing you want to do is inadvertently cause a tear. So then I'll start with these two little buttons down here. I'll align the cutout and the D-pad. that a little tack. And then I flip it around because, again, it rotates around due to not having a little piece here. And then I just basically move this to align these cutouts. Now there is going to be a little bit of a hump that you're going to get because this is not flat around the joystick. So you're going to want to just go around that as best you can. See the little humps that are forming? And then you can use your squeegee to go around that hump, around the not the D-pad, the joystick. There we go. Like so. All right, now finish the flat part of the front with your finger. And then what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna need to use some heat here in a second, but you're gonna create, we call them fingers, right? They're just waves within the vinyl. You're gonna create waves like this. Right? Now, if you're really good at distributing them, you can do this without heat. I use heat to soften the vinyl a little bit so that we don't get any creases or humps or anything that are final. So you're just gonna take your heat gun, real quick, not a lot, and then push it down, push them down using the squeegee and perpendicular to the fingers, like so. Now for this little flap, stand up for a second here. We're gonna take our tweezers and we're just gonna follow the line. And then if you get more ripples, soften it a little bit. Take your squeegee and watch them disappear. Ta-da! All right, now let's do the other side. Actually, I'll wipe this off first. So this one has extra cutouts for the side buttons on this side. So I'll pre-peel the flap first, and then I'll come from here. Then I can grab both, like that. For this one, I usually use my tweezers. Just line everything all at once. You can use your finger to tack. Again, we have a little hump around the joystick, so just be cognizant of that. Get in between the buttons. There we go. Once the front is done, we're going to use our thumb. We're going to go against the curve. Right? You should be able to direct it if you're a little off center. This guy's a little off center. Okay. There we go. Okay. Actually, I'm going to use some heat here. this guy. And we're just gonna follow the curve. You get tiny little wrinkles. You can work them out with the non-felted edge of your squeegee like that. All right, let's do the bottom pieces now. So the bottom piece, there's a curve here. You want to hug that curve. So. This one's a little easier because you got the cutouts for the extra. I don't know if that stands for frames per second, or I think probably first person shooter, maybe it's a latency. So I'm just gonna do this tilted so I can see what I'm doing first, but then I'll show you what it looks like. I'm gonna use your tweezers to align it around the cutouts. And it looks like that. Okay. And now, actually we'll save these for last, because those are extra fun. A note about the button cutouts. They are actually directional, so they look like trapezoids, but you can't just switch them around. If you look at the design, like this part, the bottom left corner one is actually larger radius than the top right. So you have to make sure that you install them the same way that they're oriented on the paper. Like that. And this guy. And then the same over here. So, and then this looks like a rectangle, but it is also not. So you want to make sure that you orient it the same way that it's on the paper. And the final version of this is going to have multiple copies of these buttons in case you mess up the first time. The cutout we do for the videos is more for vinyl saving. There we go. And the side buttons are indeed rectangles, so you don't need to worry about that as much. Just pay attention to which side is longer. And these are textured, so you're gonna have to really push down for the vinyl to really take to it. You should see some of that texture start to show through on the thinner ones. Let's grab this one. Okay. Oh, I forgot the little trackpad in the front. All right. And now the fun ones. So the way they are on the paper, because the design looks like this, these go here, these go here. Start with the easy one first. had that reversed, sorry. Apologies for that. I'm going to start at the wide section. There is a little bit, it is slightly undersized because when you're using the buttons, you don't want to scratch up against it. And it gives you extra wiggle room for alignment. All right, now the curved ones. I'm going to start over here. You want to start, there's an extra edge that follows the controller button. You want to start inside that edge. So I'm starting inside the edge, like so. And then I'm going to hug this line until I get to about the halfway point. Okay, so I'm about halfway. Now it's gonna look like the vinyl's pulling this way and it's not gonna fit. But if you follow and press in to the button, it lines right up. So let's do that again on this side. I'm gonna do it from another angle now. So we're gonna line up the wide part first. And then we're just gonna hug the line, come on down. Okay. And then finally, we're gonna align it right at the corner there. We're going to follow the edge until we get about halfway. And then we're going to come swooping this way. And now we have a Satin Shimmer Ocean Legion GO 2. Thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you next time.